I think you're muted.
Welcome to another episode of the CheezeTalk Pod. I'm your host, Brian Rego, and tonight I'm joined by Ben from Mafia Members Pod. Ben, what's up?
Hey, man, good to be back. Just enjoying the first couple weeks of the season and, having fun.
What do you think of your Bills so far there in Mafia country?
I think we've all been pleasantly surprised with what we've seen so far, especially from the defensive side of the ball. I think we were all a little bit worried about the loss of all the guys that we had, and obviously Milano getting injured again, Teron Johnson injured this season, and we were just worried. So luckily, we've been playing pretty well. The defense is we saw last week against Miami, they were able to turn the ball over, and so it's been a pleasant surprise. Offense, I think, still needs a little bit of work, but I think that'll come with more games played together.
So then, I mean, Josh Allen's always been huge, and it seems like there's certain teams that can. Last week I used, for example, like the Niners, how they can take like these somewhat like the undrafted free agents, like running backs, and make them like, good running backs.
Yeah.
Now you guys have Cook's brother, right?
Yeah. He's actually really good. He's been playing really well this year so far for us. We saw the 3 touchdowns against Miami, but it's funny because. Like I think San Fran, like they have the most like stacked roster. Like at any position, they have the best player there, aside from quarterback. But so they have like a plug and play. It almost feels like it doesn't matter who's there. The system and their play style is just fun to watch, and like you said, it doesn't really matter who's in there. I think in Mafia country, we think kind of the same. It doesn't matter who our wide receiver weapons are, as long as we got Josh Allen there, we'll be all right. Yeah,
and that a handful of teams can say that, and I guess I can say that for the Packers as well. Going from obviously seeing Favre do it with, I remember Robert Ferguson. I mean, whatever. Then you have it's just. Even with Rodgers during COVID, when Devontae was out and a bunch of guys are out, just a bunch of no-name guys making plays, and then now you have, I mean, like a month ago, the Titans and Packers made a trade for Malik Willis.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Love goes down, so then you have Malik Willis coming to a new team, and all of a sudden, boom, it's like he's thrown into the fire when Love goes down. The coaching staff has a week to get a game plan for a quarterback that just came into the system, and people are like, "Oh, you guys are screwed, Malik. Whatever, you guys are done." Turns out that it's actually happened to be a pretty good trade. We're sitting here at 2-0 with our starter out, and with him eventually coming back next week healthy against the Vikings.
Yeah, and I also remember, I think it was Aaron Rodgers had gotten injured, and then was it Matt Flynn came in and he threw for like 600 yards in a game or something like that. Seattle gave him this huge contract.
Yeah, he came in and he threw 6 touchdowns. I think that was against the Bears. I'm pretty sure.
And then he gets traded, or he signs in Seattle for like a huge amount of money. And it's like, well, maybe it was just because it was the Packers and not because it was Flynn himself.
Yeah, and he didn't do anything in Seattle. He got all
exactly,
money.
exactly.
I remember the year the Packers won the Super Bowl in 2010. Roddy White for the Falcons kept on saying that all these receivers for the Packers are a product of the system, and they're a system team. And at the end of the day, if your team gets a win, you get a win.
Yeah, hopefully, hopefully the system brings a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, hey, if you can bring a Lombardi Trophy home, hey, that's all I care about. You know?
Yeah, I'm sure Trent Dilfer doesn't mind that he was a system quarterback. He got a Super Bowl win.
Right, and that's just crazy. Are you guys 3-0, 2-0?
2-0. We play tomorrow night.
Night against Jacksonville.
Jacksonville, yeah. Which they always play us well. We always seem to lose to Jacksonville. I think Trevor Lawrence is 2-0 against Buffalo. And so I'm a little bit worried about that game tomorrow night. I don't want to seem like I'm trashing Jacksonville, but like it's like a little bit of a trap game for the Bills, because next week we have Baltimore, who just did what they did to Dallas, and although that game got close at the end, but we're 2-0, they're 0-2. We're about to play Baltimore. This team always plays well against us, and like I just don't have a good feeling about the game tomorrow night.
Yeah, I mean, you never know, especially in prime time, and you have a quarterback that's showing flashes like Trevor Lawrence, and you just don't know. Like I'm surprised. I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised. Like Diggs, like I thought that by losing him, maybe that might knock Buffalo down a notch or two, but I think actually it might have made you guys better.
I think in a way it made us better. I think we got better at like the wide receivers on our team now. They have higher like catch percentages, like they catch the ball at a higher rate, and they get more yards after the catch. So we definitely upgraded in those two positions. But also it's now a little bit more difficult to defend us, because you can't just lock in on Stephon Diggs. And if you stop Stephon Diggs, then you stop Buffalo. And we have 6 guys on the field at any given time that Allen can throw the ball to, and they'll come down with a catch.
Yeah, it's crazy. Kind of like Green Bay as well. You know, like we had Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, and if Devontae was down, like, oh boy, now like they're not going to double team anybody else. You know, so everyone's playing straight up, and like with Adams out there, you kind of knew where the play was going. But I mean, now we have a young core similar to you guys, to where any 1 through 5 could just have a breakout game. You know, and then you worry too much about the running backs or the receivers, and you got, you know, Josh Jacobs, and today Emmanuel Wilson had a decent game. Jacobs not so much, but you know, it's just like it's like they say, any given Sunday. And
exactly.
You guys are professionals, and they're there for a reason. And it's just crazy how like one season, you think in the off season going into the next season how all these teams are gonna, maybe not be so good, and they surprise everybody, Yeah,
exactly. And it's been fun to watch too. Like obviously we didn't get out to the greatest start against Arizona. We were down like 17-3 at halftime or something like that, and everyone was like, "Oh man, this our worst fear is true. Like it's coming to life in front of our eyes." And then the game turned around, and we were able to get the win. And yeah, it's crazy how much sometimes maybe it's not true, but there's like a little bit of like a narrative around your team, and you're like, maybe maybe I am just a blind fan thinking that anything that they do is going to work. But then you see it on the field and you're like, okay, no, I haven't been crazy for the past 3 months of thinking that the Bills are still a good team. I haven't lost my mind.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that too. And it's about coaching too. I mean, you there's this guys that can, I just constantly have this thing in the back. It's just, I mean, what's going on? What do you think is going on with the Chicago Bears?
I don't know. I mean,
at what point do you hold the coaches accountable?
Yeah. Yeah.
At
Well,
what point?
especially when you see Justin Fields start out 3-0 when you see Justin Fields start out 3-0 in Pittsburgh.
Hey,
Like,
what did I say earlier before the season started?
You
What I said.
You did say that. You did say that.
And if
So,
they're gonna, I mean, he's 3-0. He's weird. He's a starter for a team that said he'd be a starter for, and the Bears are gonna struggle, which they have. I mean,
yeah. I think you have to give a little bit of it's only week 3 for
Right.
Caleb Williams. You got to give him a little bit more time to, there's already people out there saying that he's a bust and all those kinds of things, which I think is a little bit early for that, but
Right.
Yeah, definitely not good. And maybe it's time for the coach to go, because he wasn't able to do it with Justin Fields, who looks like he's good, and he's struggling now with Caleb Williams, who everyone says is supposed to be better than every other quarterback in the league. So maybe it is a coaching, maybe it's a like a culture thing that he can't bring to the team or something. But when the struggles are like that often and that obvious, like, there has to be it's not always just the players.
Right. And they were saying that he had 386 passing yards this year or today against the Colts. Well, I mean, last week against the Colts, the Packers had 164 rushing yards in the first quarter against them. So I mean, you take it for what it is, but that's a crazy stat too.
That's a lot of rushing yards, man. That's a lot of rushing yards.
That game last week was a lot closer than what it should have been. And I'm just, another thing that I said the Packers need to do this year is have their defense score touchdowns, and they had a pick 6 today too. So that's helping the offense out and not putting a lot of pressure on Malik Willis, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you put pressure on a young guy is one way to have him succeed as well.
Yeah, exactly. They at that stage, especially since he's new to the team, you want to give him as much time as possible. So anything that you can do to relieve any kind of pressure off of him is huge, right? So it's nice that was it Jair?
Yeah,
Jair had the pick 6. So it's nice that someone like that is able to step in and take a little bit of the burden off of the new quarterback. That,
as well as Xavier McKinney. He had his 3rd pick today.
Oh yeah,
he got to pick every game.
That's I will say we got Rasul Douglas from you guys last year.
Yeah.
And he is he's probably our best corner, and he's won us a couple games, I think, just by his. He got a couple picks at the end of last season against New England that sealed the deal for us. Scored a touchdown for us against New England, and he's been playing pretty well again this year. And it's fun to watch and see a defense contribute so much to the offensive side of the ball as well.
Right, and I mean, we hated seeing Rasul Douglas go as well, but I think he we're all kind of after Joe Barry a couple years ago, obviously, as he's proven he's not a good defensive coordinator, and Rasul Douglas kind of criticized him, I think, in social media, or maybe like an interview or like a post-game interview, and next thing you know, he's getting traded. It's like, yep, well, that's how that's going. But and then I mean, I still like this Rasul Douglas. This Xavier McKinney trade and acquisition brings back Charles Woodson.
Yeah,
free agent signing to Green Bay. It kind of brings back that type of feel,
Yeah. He was a lot of fun to watch too. He was one of my favorite, non-Buffalo Bills player to watch. It's like Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, and Charles Woodson and some of those other guys like that. It's so much fun to watch them. They're like when you see a player who almost feels like they do whatever they want to do, they're just so good at it that if they want to get an interception, he'll get an interception on this play. It's a big moment. I'll make a tackle to stop the offense or whatever the case is. And it's just fun to watch someone who can kind of take over a game like that.
Right. What's your take on, I know it kind of, like I told you before, it's kind of going to be all over the place today on this.
Yeah, no worries. No worries.
Which is fine. You know, it's kind of fun to break out of the norm every once in a while. Now this goes back to the opening weekend in Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
That hit on Love. Do you think that was dirty or do you think that was clean?
I don't know. I think it was clean. I think we can't judge a play based on the outcome. Like if Jordan Love had popped up and just ran down the field and got back into the huddle and didn't miss any time and whatever, I don't think we'd be saying, "Oh, that's a roughing the passer penalty." You know what I mean? I think because he gets injured now, we slow it down and we look at it frame by frame and say maybe it was a cheap shot or something like that. But I think in real time it's tough to make that determination.
Right. The part that got me upset was when you saw, was it date or 96? Anyway, the dude from Georgia, like he's like reaching, like if this was his leg, he went and like grabbed it purposely, and then he went and he grabbed it and did.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Roll on it.
Yes.
So,
I do.
That isn't necessary.
Yeah. I do remember that now. Yeah. I think if you're lying there and he reached up like that, right, and he was like almost lying on his back and he reached up to grab just grabbed his leg and pulled him down by it. Yeah, I think that's I'm now thinking of it. Yeah, I do think it was an unnecessary move by him at least, especially because Love was already being hit from the front side.
Yeah. I just want to let you know that I have stopped getting messages.
Did you?
From that post that got like 1.2 million impressions on, and my inbox is blowing up. And it's okay though. Then the following week, the Eagles lost, so I was right there. But
they're a passionate fan base, that's for sure.
Yeah. I'm surprised that. Well, I thought all the flags are still down in Brazil, but apparently they made it back up to the North America, because I mean we're seeing penalties left and right. I mean I've never remember. Although maybe it's because it's early, maybe it's because I don't know. What do you think about every other play? There's a flag. There's a flag.
Yeah, it's been. Well, especially the first game of the season there when we watched Baltimore get it was like 5 illegal formation penalties on like the opening drive of the whole NFL season. It was the first time we had watched football. It was the Thursday nighter against Kansas City. And I was just being like, man, not another season of the refs controlling the outcome of a game. You know, I've refereed basketball games before. And I just remember always like in our training, they were always like, if no one mentions the referees, then you did a good job. If you're not in the news, then that means that you did a good job. No one's talking about you good or bad. Like you just want to stay off the radar completely as a referee. And I don't think they're doing that good of a job at doing that. I'll say this year. I think they're making some calls. Like I don't know if you saw the Buffalo game week 1 against Arizona.
I don't think I did. No.
Kyler came sliding in, and the Bills player was already on the ground, and like leaned back like this, and like jumped to get up out of his way. And then they called him for an unnecessary roughness because Kyler was sliding, and he like slid into his shin, into the Buffalo guy's shin. And then like the next quarter, Allen went to slide, and the guy jumped into his face with his shoulder, and they didn't call the penalty. And so there's no consistency. It feels like there's no consistency from game to game, from crew to crew. You're stuck guessing if every play is a penalty or not. Like your team makes a big play, and then immediately you look to see if there's any flags on the field, or like, you know, you can't just enjoy watching the game. And I think it's kind of taken away from the fun of the game.
Right. And you mentioned that you ref basketball, and I coach youth basketball as well. My fifth grader, and last year we had a game against a good team in the Green Bay area, and there's this kid. He's dribbling the ball, and he's like, you know,
Yeah.
You gotta start at some point. You gotta start carrying it, or you gotta start calling the carry. And at one point, he did it and it got stuck to his hip. Then he started dribbling again. Is that not a travel?
It's at least a double dribble.
Yeah, and I'm going. I'm like, I kind of talked out loud. I said, "That's a travel." And the ref stopped. I mean, he wasn't calling anything. The ref stopped the game. And he walked over to me in front of everybody there. He goes, "Sir," he goes, "I'm not going to call every single travel." I go, "Sir, you haven't called one travel all game long." And we all got warnings. And next thing you know, our top 3 players fall out and we lose the game, you know.
Yeah, I would have chats with the coach, because I was reffing. It was probably that age. Like, I think they were 10 and under. And I'd talk with the coaches before the game, and I'd be like, at this age, we're really just, trying to learn, make sure that the guys are learning the game and having fun. So right. I'm not going to call every travel, but if it's blatantly obvious, then yes, I'll call a travel. Or, if you don't let the guy land after his jump shot and you kind of, step into him a little bit and he falls down, I'm going to call like the obvious fouls I'm going to call. And we'll call a little bit of the ticky-tack ones as well, just as a learning process. But at this age, every kid has to travel in order to even take a jump shot. So, like, I'm not going to call every single time. But the obvious ones, like if the ball gets stuck on the kid's hip and he walks and then starts dribbling it again, like, we're going to have to call something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's we're playing same year. We're playing against another team in the Northeast Wisconsin area. I mean, basketball is pretty, where I'm at. A couple years ago, they won a state championship. And there's a school, Ashwaubenon. They're, that's where Lambeau is actually. It's in Ashwaubenon, not Green Bay.
Okay.
Anyways, so, 4th grade, 5th grade, we spend 2 nights a week. Well, at least in our school, we do 2 nights a week, hour and a half a night, games on the weekend. And there's refs like setting up this team, their inbounds play. It's like this basketball program, they know how to inbound plays. You shouldn't punish my kids because you know how to defend an inbound play and put the optics. You know what I'm saying? But little things like that are annoying. But
and I've also been a coach of little league basketball and little league football, and it's whatever hat you put on. Like, if you're a referee, you're going to defend the referees, and when you're coaching, you're going to hate the referees, and when you're playing, you're going to hate both. So
yeah. Let's get back into the NFL talk. What are your thoughts on Bryce Young getting benched? Do you think he was put in a crappy situation in Carolina?
Yeah, 100%. We're like, it's kind of the same thing that we were just talking about with Justin Fields a little bit, I think. They brought in a new head coach this year, right? They brought in the guy from Tampa Bay, I think, who was supposed to
Bowles?
Canales. Dave Canales. He was the offensive coordinator for Tampa Bay. And so he was supposed to make things better, and you gave him 2 games to do that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think Bryce has ever had a good team around him. Like, I think if you look at Bryce Young versus CJ Stroud, like, who was drafted into the better organization and who had better weapons around him and who had a better support staff around him, I think it's obvious as to why CJ Stroud is having a better career than Bryce Young.
Yeah. You gotta feel sorry for him.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like kind of like any quarterback that gets drafted to the Bears. It's like I can't help but bring it up. It's so true. Is it not true?
It is true.
Like, I can't think back a quarterback for the Bears that was actually decent. I mean,
Jay Cutler was okay. Jay Cutler was okay.
Yeah, throwing us touchdowns. Like Charles Woodson always said, Jay's going to be Jay. We know we're getting the ball. Smoking Jay Cutler, yeah. But I'll never get the Chicago Bears franchise and what they have going on there.
They've never had a 4,000-yard passer, eh, as a quarterback?
I don't think so. I think last year, Jordan Love threw for more yards than any quarterback in Bears history. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that's an actual stat. That last year Jordan Love threw for more yards in the season than any single Bears quarterback did in their team history.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't know how you can you probably won't appreciate this, but they are like a great franchise over when you think of, when you think of the NFL, you think Chicago Bears are like probably like the third or fourth or fifth team that you think of. But to be so bad for so long and still have this like aura around them is crazy.
Yeah, they were ahead of the Packers for most wins in the NFL, and the Packers, I think last week. Was it last week? We're the first team to reach 800 wins.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. So yeah, it's
just because when I think of the Bears, I think of like
85.
I think of 85 defense. I think
That's
of Walter
30 years
Payton.
ago. 40 years ago.
No, I know, and it's crazy that they're surviving on the narrative from 1985 and even earlier with Walter Payton, and like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how they keep it up for so long. Like, if Buffalo misses the playoffs, like, or if it gets off to a bad start this year, they're like, oh, you guys are trash. But we still don't say that about the Chicago Bears unless you live in Green Bay, really.
Yeah, and it's funny too. You see people like on Twitter that are like, like the Bears every offseason, like they win like the Super Bowl of the offseason, they did this, they did that, and
yeah.
Next thing you know, they're like calling for a certain play with plays and never be called again, and light that playbook on fire, and it's a funny thing between Packer fans and Bear fans. Like a bunch of people that I follow that are Packer fans, they'll like bookmark tweets and like screenshot stuff, and then when it starts going downhill, all the receipts come back.
we have that with Miami too. Miami for the past like 4 years has said that they're going to be the division winners, and in August and September they say that they're the division winners, and here we go. And then you see all the Bills, the Bills trolling accounts that come out with the receipts of all these Miami fans saying, well, what happened? Well, how come you're not the division champs again? Obviously, this year will be a little bit different, but
right. Yeah, I was watching the Packer game on my phone today because my son had a league game down in Appleton. But I was seeing on Twitter like what's that Sneed for the
Chiefs? Or L'Jarius Sneed?
No, now he plays for the Titans. They
Titans, yes, yeah.
I guess he like he did like a suplex of Jalen Reed.
Oh, really? I didn't see that. I didn't see that game at all.
They didn't call it or anything. And I saw some comments on Twitter, and I retweeted with a comment. I said the refs probably thought he was still playing for the Chiefs. And all like it's you guys are rivals with the Patriots, right?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on what's going on up in New England?
I think they kind of went about it the wrong way, and they decided to go get the quarterback first, and they don't have an offensive line, and they don't have wide receivers, and they don't have a very good running game to support them. If say for example, if I was running the Patriots, this draft I would have just got a whole bunch of O-line. Next year's draft I would have got a whole bunch of defensive players, and then the following draft I would have drafted Archie Manning and then just rolled with that. Get some of that Manning blood in the organization, because they don't look good at all. They don't look good at all. I don't think that coach, they got a new head coach there. Gerard Mayo is first year coach. I don't think he'll survive for very long up there.
Yeah, I was watching how they're kind of talking about like the culture up there, and Belichick kind of ran it like a tight ship. I mean, obviously, 7 championships. And Gerard Mayo's walking around pregame. I was seeing something where he'd go around to like assistants on the team. He'd like do like the duck, like a ball's coming, and he'd get like the assistants to flinch too. He did that like 3 or 4 times. It's like horses are on the sidelines, and here you are. You're one of the worst teams in the NFL, Yeah, probably maybe take your job a little bit more serious.
Yeah, I think they're okay to just like pack it in already. They didn't have any expectations this year. They're just like, get us through the year, and we'll just try and keep building something here. But I don't know. I don't see how well it. I don't see it turning out well for them.
Yes, I'm just trying to look at the scores of the game so far.
I just wish that Here's a fun stat for you. Did you know that Tom Brady has more Super Bowl MVPs? So he's won the MVP of the Super Bowl more times than he's lost to the Buffalo Bills. So he's got like 5 Super Bowl MVPs, and he's lost to the Bills 3 times in his whole career.
That's crazy.
So it's never really a rivalry between us because he just dominated us. Right. And now that we're good, they're so bad. And it's still not a rivalry. I wish we had kind of been able to meet somewhere in the middle and have Josh Allen going up against Tom Brady and have like a real duel and real rivalry between the two teams. And we could kind of get back some of those games that we lost to them.
Yeah, I want to see the Chiefs get knocked on a couple notches.
Yeah, me too. I don't know. There's just something about the team that drives me nuts. That
was not defensive pass interference last weekend. That's ridiculous. No. You know?
Yeah. And then they missed the holding at the line of scrimmage on that same play.
Yeah. But I'm just I haven't really been looking at scores. I'm kind of going over NFL.com right now. Like, I thought the Rams were going to beat the Niners. They won by 3. San Fran, something's going on in San Fran, man.
The Rams beat the Niners?
27-24, yeah.
Damn. I thought for sure, yeah. I came into the season thinking that there was like nobody better than San Fran. Like, I just loved I think Fred Warner's the best linebacker in football. I think Trent Williams is the best offensive lineman in the league. McCaffrey's the best running back. They're just stacked all over the place. And I was definitely expecting a little bit more out of them. That's for sure.
Well, then you got, I don't know, is Brandon Ayuk still out? I guess I haven't really been paying attention, but I know
he's playing for them. He's just not good because he sat out for so long.
Right. And then, I think people have caught up to, I was about to say Anquan Bolden, Deebo Samuel.
Yeah.
But
that's a name from the past, Anquan Bolden.
Yeah, didn't he play with a shattered face?
I think so.
People nowadays would never do that. The Lions won.
No.
Seattle beat Miami. Carolina smoked the Raiders. Who did they play, or who did they start instead of Bryce Young?
The Red Rocket there, Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton. Packers won. Broncos beat the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers, they're not. I don't know.
They were supposed to be good this year too, but they don't seem like they're that good. Oh wow, Atlanta's beating Kansas City right now.
7-0, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Colts beat the Bears. And then I did see that thing where somebody on Twitter, I reposted it, and I said, not how something about how'd that work for you? Like, some Cleveland fan was playing, we gotta play the Giants today, ha ha ha, and then they lost to the Giants.
Well, that's one more win than I thought the Giants would get all year.
Yeah. And then
I did not expect them to be good at all.
Cincinnati, and it's a doubleheader tomorrow?
Yeah. I hate that. I hate when they do that, the 2 Monday night games. Right.
Yeah.
We're planning all year, or not all year because it's only week 3, but you're planning as a fan to be like, okay, this is my team's turn to be in prime time, everybody watching us, and let's see what we can do. And then another game starts half an hour later.
Yeah, but you have different fan bases that are bigger than other ones, and they might.
No, that's true.
You know, do you think Drake May is the answer in New England?
I think it's good that they're not playing him.
Yeah,
I think he would be like a Bryce Young if he was just thrown in there, and you can ruin a quarterback so quick by just throwing him into the fire.
Yeah, it's like if you want to learn how to develop a quarterback, watch the Green Bay way. If you want to learn how to like destroy a quarterback, look at the Chicago Bears.
Hey, my teacher likes.
Your teacher likes the Chicago Bears, or your teacher must not know football.
Are you allowed to like the Chicago Bears living in Green Bay?
Not in my household. Who do you like, Riley? The Green Bay
Packers.
Yeah. You don't want the Chiefs because Taylor Swift. I get it. Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yep, and Kermit the Frog. Yeah.
As annoying as it is that they kind of show Taylor Swift a lot, it is nice to have having kids get into football a little bit earlier just for that fact. It makes me feel less bad about watching football all Sunday when my daughter can sit beside me and watch it too because she's excited to see Taylor Swift. Yeah. It makes me feel a little bit less guilty about doing it.
Yeah. That is very true. I haven't really been paying attention to the Chiefs. Like I said, I've been super busy with everything going on. But how is Travis Kelce doing?
He's falling off.
Mid.
Yeah, he's mid. He's definitely not the top tight end in the league anymore. They'll always have that chemistry where when a play breaks down and Mahomes just needs somebody, he just looks for 87 red and throws it in that direction. So they'll always have that chemistry that is beneficial for him. But I think he's getting old. I think he's lost a step. He's getting a little bit slow. I think he's a little bit distracted too. He's not. I don't think his off seasons are as focused on football. I think they're a little bit more focused on touring the world with Taylor Swift.
In his Eras tour.
Yeah.
I kind of, the NFL kind of leaves a sour taste in your mouth every once in a while, especially like when I mentioned something in a post last week about how the NFL doesn't do a good job like regulating their crimes and stuff done by players off the field and stuff. And then you see the Chiefs that are, always electric plays to Xavier Worthy but it wasn't Worthy. No, it wasn't Worthy.
Rashee
Rice. He shouldn't even be in the league.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I guarantee you, if Henry Ruggs, the accident he got into, if that car would have started on fire and that lady in the car would have died, or wouldn't have died, he'd still be playing in the NFL.
If he wasn't in jail, because he's in jail is the only reason that he's not playing on Sunday afternoons.
Right.
Like the NFL doesn't care at all.
Yeah, and it's just you got a commissioner making years ago he's making 55, 60 million a year. He's got to be up between 80 and 90 now. It's just crazy. Like, I mean, I get it's a business, and I get like they regulate their own, but I just think they do a terrible job at
exactly. And then they'll do something like, they'll treat Aaron Rodgers poorly because of whatever he didn't even do anything illegal. He just said he didn't want to get the vaccine, which is a separate conversation. But it's not like he did anything illegal, and now he's ostracized from the NFL, and they don't want him to be there anymore. Meanwhile, Rashee Rice is out here doing whatever, and he's still playing every Sunday. They kind of have their priorities backwards a little bit.
Well, look at what even happened to Ray Rice. If that wouldn't have happened on a video, he'd still be playing. He would have played.
Yeah, I mean, Tyreek is still in the league, right? And he's done the same thing to his wife and to his kids. He's done it too, and
And then you got Kareem Hunt. came back to the Chiefs practice squad. I'm assuming to get brought up to the starting roster. I mean, he's on video doing it. I mean, it's just I don't get it.
It's like they pick and choose who the rules like apply to almost, and if you're someone who can create a headline and bring in a couple more views, then doesn't matter what you do, you're good to go.
Yeah, I remember back the last time I can think of something happening for the Packers. I think when the Packers had Cedric Benson for that short time, he had something happen at his house, like involving, I forgot what it was, but before that it was Eric Walden, like domestic abuse or assault or whatever. But like like Woodson, like he was kind of wild out in Oakland, and he came to Green Bay, kind of tamed him down. That's when he played his best. There's nothing. I mean, they say there's nothing to do, but you're 2 hours from Milwaukee or 3.5 hours from Chicago. I mean, look what happened to Zadarius Smith when he got pulled over with Rashawn Gary and a couple other guys coming back from Chicago. He got all these vape pens and stuff in his truck. He never got charged for anything. But I mean, it's you got money, you can find your way out.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much what it always boils down to, right?
Yeah. Well, unless you're Diddy, I guess. Hey, that's crazy. That's a whole nother topic, right there.
That's a whole other.
That's like it's like the Epstein of the entertainment world.
Yeah.
Like there's people on Twitter that are scrubbing their accounts.
Yeah.
Usher deleted everything.
Apparently, they said they said Diddy is now on suicide watch inside the prison, but it's just in case he does Epstein himself. They have at least this to like go back on.
I hope he doesn't, because I like in my posters, let the popcorn kernels get warm, because it's going to be a show if everything comes out that we think, it's going to be crazy. Yeah,
but I don't see a way in which they allow any of the names or any of the documents or any of the video. I don't see a way in which that is leaked out in any way.
Well, the pictures are being leaked.
Oh yeah,
there's pictures of like he had like this big huge bed, and there's like back when like Jay-Z and Aaliyah and like R. Kelly and Jennifer Lopez, and they're all laying on a bed together, and like there's stuff about Jay-Z and Aaliyah when Aaliyah was underage, and obviously R. Kelly was on, but she was. I mean, it's just there's a lot of stuff going around. But anyway, who plays tonight?
Tonight is Atlanta, Kansas City.
You jump into a rabbit hole sometimes. And
yeah, exactly.
Guys, well, it is crazy though, because like he even back to it. He even like offered his house and I think his mom's house for collateral for bail, and they denied him. Like it was like $50 million.
No way. That's crazy.
They said he's too much of a threat. He knows too many connections to get. Like he said he was going to like sell his plane, and his whole family, they yanked off all their passports, and like
crazy.
There's a lot going on. But
yeah, it's Kansas City versus Atlanta tonight. I think it's in Atlanta.
Yeah, it is. And it's
in Atlanta. Still 7-0.
That game last week was crazy. You gave Kirk Cousins like 2 minutes to come down and make a drive, and it's like Kirk Cousins, he's like playing mid like all game. I noticed with him, it's like when his release, it looks like he's throwing the ball down towards the ground, like his release.
Yeah, it looks like exactly. He like lets it go like downwards,
and but
it works for him.
He earned some of that money in that last drive last week. That was awesome.
Yeah. Who was that against? Yeah, against Philadelphia. Yeah.
That was my sweet revenge for all the people that came after me. Was they lost to Kirk Cousins, and I was posting like the GIF or the GIF, like you like that.
Are you guys worried about the Vikings in Green Bay? They look like they're pretty good this year with Sam Darnold.
Yeah, that's surprising. I think I'm not too. I mean, today the Packers. What was that thing that I posted? They had 8 sacks today. That's the most sacks they've had since. Let me see here on my. It was since 2005, I think.
That's crazy.
So if they can build off of this game, if they can come back, what they had? Let me see here. Sorry, Ben. Yeah, most 8 sacks versus most in a game for Packers defense since 2005. So if they can get to the backfield and disrupt the backfield and disrupt Darnold, I think they can play a good game if they can contain Aaron Jones. I think what you got to do is you got to put a spy on Aaron Jones. You got to bring in one of these safeties that you drafted this last year and have him just trail him the whole game.
Yeah. But I was not expecting Minnesota to start 3-0 to the year. Like beating the Giants, sure, but beating San Fran was huge, and beating Houston is crazy. Like I think they're a lot better than we might have thought coming into the season. And your division, I think we all kind of thought that the NFC North was the toughest division in football, and outside of the Chicago Bears, it's turning out to be true because Detroit, and Minnesota, they all look pretty good so far.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is too, Ben, is look what we've done with Malik Heath.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not like superpower teams, but at the same time, it's a 53-man roster that they're in professional football. They're there for a reason.
Exactly. They're so good at football. Yeah.
Right. And you have a healthy team and you get, your quarterback back, you get Jordan Love back. And like I said in the beginning of the podcast, you get, look at what kind of a short notice Matt LaFleur had to put in an offense to suit Malik Willis.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the way they ran the ball that first half last week against Indianapolis was crazy. Like they knew we were going to run the ball, and they still couldn't stop us.
Exactly.
And if you get Jordan Love back, and you still have that in your head that look what they did against these last 2 teams running the ball. Frankly, against the Colts, not so much against the Titans today, but look what they did. They're capable of doing that, and now they got Jordan Love who can make these passes.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have a defense, maybe second guessing on what they're going to call on defense.
Yeah.
But and then again, I also said that you get a healthy Christian Watson, and he showed today that if he's healthy, no one can guard him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think they should have went to Jordan Love instead of playing Willis, or do you keep Willis in as long as he can? Or
I would have if I would have picked 2 games in the schedule to play Malik Willis, it ironically enough would have been these last 2 games because you kind of didn't know what you had going into against the Colts. With Richardson, he has a hell of an arm. Good receivers, defense. I thought the defense was decent, and the Titans, the way they collapsed against the Bears last week, or was it last week or 2 weeks? Well, anyway, the way they collapsed against the Bears, these are the 2 games that I would have. Guess I'm glad that it happened the way it did.
Yeah. I know sometimes it can work out like that, but I don't know. I always kind of err on the side of, especially when he's a younger quarterback and supposed to be your franchise guy, err on the side of sitting him. You know what I mean? And there's no sense in him playing at 80 or even 90% healthy to risk something later on in the season when it matters more. Let him sit out week 2, 3, 4, 5, or whatever. Let him sit out as long as if you think he's close, let him sit out that one more game. Just to make sure that you're 100% back.
Yeah, and I think we'll see a lot more of him in practice this following or this week leading up to Minnesota. I think he plays against the Vikings.
Yeah, it's probably a division matchup game. Yeah,
he was as LaFleur kept saying, he's limited. And then they ask players on the Packers. What about Jordan Love? Well, he's limited. He's limited. So they all know what they're doing at Lambeau Field. But I don't know. I think if they can control the line of scrimmage on defense and put pressure on Darnold and make him make some bad decisions, and if their secondary is pretty good. You got McKinney, and didn't hear much about Bullard this today, but Ja had a pick six, and Stokes had some key tackles on some wide receiver screens that he dove low and went past the blocker and made tackles on like 4th and 1 and 3rd and short. So
yeah.
I think if you can, then if you get good coverage on Jefferson, so I don't know, it'll be a good game. It'll be loud and Lambeau like it always is, and
yeah, exactly. I think it'll be a fun matchup for sure. I think Justin Jefferson's the best wide receiver in football. It's always fun to watch him play, and Sam Darnold, maybe he's having a resurgence, and maybe another example of the organization in the Jets and Carolina, not great organizations to go and play for. And you come into Minnesota that has, is probably just a quarterback away from being a good team, and you can kind of thrive, and he can play well in Minnesota.
Yeah, have him for that year, and then hopefully McCarthy comes back healthy next year. Then what do you do? He's only on
trade him and get a bunch of pieces back for him, maybe, or something. But
is he on a 1-year contract, Darnold?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
It's just a 1-year, maybe a 2-year deal. But yeah, if he's on a 1-year deal, I don't know what you do. Maybe trade him. I don't know. Hopefully the Vikings, whatever they do, they fumble it.
There's nothing wrong with being a true fan of your team and not being able to say anything positive about another team in the division.
Hey, it's only well, I guess it's still 7-0 Falcons. Only franchise and only other team in the division that I would root for would be the Lions, because they've been through so much crap in the last 40 years. They deserve to have some hope every once in a while. But at the same time, you got to build them up, and break them down. Right?
There's a lot of similarities between Bills fans and Detroit fans. From being completely irrelevant for 30 years to being a somewhat good team who has playoff hopes and aspirations, and still not being able to get the job done.
Packers, come on, Packers, give this. I'm glad they lost. Give somebody else a chance. And for the last 30 years, we've been chomping at the bit for one of the first team to 800 wins, and you got back to back, possibly 3 back-to-back Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and obviously Love's second year starting, but he started off decent in his first full year, and if he keeps that up, I'm sure he'll be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Or I think Josh Allen will be too. It's you don't always have to.
I definitely think Josh Allen will. Yeah. He's like 20 rushing touchdowns away from setting the record for rushing touchdowns from a quarterback. So,
is that from Michael Vick?
From Cam Newton, actually.
Cam Newton. Well, Vic would have had more, but he was in jail. Oh, what a loser.
Again, another player that the NFL didn't do anything about. They just let the legal system put him in jail for 2 years. The second he was out of jail, he was back in the league.
Didn't he come back and play for the Eagles?
Eagles and Steelers, and I think that's it. Just those 2 teams. But yeah.
Go figure. The Eagles would take him.
Who outside of your division? Who's your biggest rival as Packer fans?
I think as of the last few years, I would say probably the Niners.
Yeah,
because when we've had that game to advance to the Super Bowl or the NFC Championship game, we would lose to them. We lost to them last year on that interception. Had our field goal kicker made a field goal during the game, it would have been a different story. we would have been up by a touchdown. But even like then you go back to like today, the two guys that Narverson and Willis are both former Titans, sticking it to the Tennessee. Malik can say all he wants. It wasn't about revenge. I mean, he's a humble dude, though. If you listen to like his interviews and stuff, he didn't like. People are asking him throughout the week about, is this a revenge game? Is this a revenge game? He's like, no. It's like I got nothing but good to say about the organization. They gave me a chance, as a rookie, and this and that, and pretty much like it's a business, and so he's a very humble guy. I think after what the Packers saw from him today, I would get him a contract extension.
Yeah,
this would be a backup. You don't want to
100%. It's nice. It's nice to see what like just giving a guy just a little bit of confidence can do. Like the Packers obviously said, you know what, our Jordan Love is injured, but we got all the faith in the world in Malik Willis. We're not going to go out and trade for whoever these rumors were to trade for, or try and bring Tom Brady out of retirement. Like none of that stuff. Like they're like, no, this is our guy. We're going to go with him, and it's turned out well for him. Give a guy a little bit of confidence in himself, and he can perform.
Yeah, and I mean, get him some money.
Yeah, money's the best motivator for sure.
I mean, look at the Packers. If they would have started off the season 0-3, what
exactly.
How their playoff chance be over. Like the playoff chance, I saw a stat, or like the Packers playoff chance. It wasn't looking too good after Philadelphia.
Yeah. I think like if you start out 0-3, I think they've made the playoffs like 5% of the time or something. Like your chances are almost nothing.
Right, and that's crazy to think about. And I've even said
season could be over that early in the year.
Yeah, you have 3 losses in the first 3 games of the year. You gotta, do something pretty remarkable in the next, 14 weeks to even have a chance.
Yeah, it's hard enough. It's hard enough to win in the NFL. You don't need to make it harder and make your team need to go on like 5-6 game winning streaks in order to have a chance at the playoffs.
Did that last year too, I guess. Like they went into Dallas and they just, as major underdogs.
Yeah,
Dallas got beat today, right?
Yeah, they had a big comeback. They made it close at the end, but
7-25 or 28-25 or something like that.
Yeah, they got an onside kick.
Oh, poor Reggie. I feel bad for Reg.
Do you like the new kickoff rules?
No, I don't. I hate them.
I think it's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Because we have a 2-time All-Pro returner that can't do anything. Now we have him like playing slot corner.
Yeah,
Sean Nixon. All these guys in the NFL that are good returners. It's just they're just wasted space out there unless they're on. Well, even if you're on special teams, like on kickoff, you still can't be. It's just go back to the way it was.
Yeah, exactly. I hate having to announce that you're doing an onside kick. I think that is so dumb. You have to be losing and in the fourth quarter and then announce that you're doing an onside kick. Like it doesn't make any sense. But Dallas did all that, and then still Baltimore couldn't recover the onside kick, and Dallas got it back and drove down and scored again to make it a game.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw like highlights and like CD was pissed at Dak. He's like, I'm going to be here all day, man. And it's just, wow, things are kind of weird seeing, McCarthy being a coach in a organization that seems like it's about to be lit on fire, They always seem like that, though, the Cowboys. They always seem like it's heaven or it's hell. There's no in between for Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, no, it's just crazy. Like the rules they implement that, it's maybe they'll change it after this year if they get enough teams that, criticize it.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't believe the Broncos won today. Anyways, no, it's just like why fix something if it ain't broken?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But Yeah. Well, I think I'm gonna wrap things up here, Ben.
Hey, no worries. No worries.
I really appreciate you being on.
Had a great time.
Yeah, absolutely. If I were to pick a team in the AFC to root for, it would definitely be the Bills because I like the way they play. I like Josh Allen.
I thought you were going to set me up and say it was going to be like the Miami Dolphins or something like that.
It would be the Bills just because I have so many people on Twitter that are like, well, Bills fans, and I think I like the way they party, like jumping through tables and stuff. That's something that I would do if I was like 30 years younger than I am now. But I did some pretty crazy stuff partying in downtown Madison. So
you got your fill.
If you ever go on like the top 20 drunkest cities in the US, there's like 10 plus that are in Wisconsin. But I'm just glad that I'm no longer that picture is out of my life. November 1st will be 3 years alcohol.
Yes, congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you. And I want to mention it too that I am at currently 195. I've been posting a lot of shorts on my YouTube channel from like Packers of the past and like writing like a
okay, nice. The
history of them, like just I have like pages of like random Packers, and I'm at 195 subscribers on my YouTube channel. So once I hit 250, I'm gonna do a From Wisconsin with Love package. I partnered with the Cheese Life 101. Him and I are mutuals on here. We're giving away, since it's the fall, maybe it'll be a Cheese Life sweatshirt. And then I've partnered with the cheese shop by my house, and they're going to put together a cheese package.
Oh, nice. Nice.
So once I hit 250, I'm picking one lucky person it's from Wisconsin with Love.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Once I get the exact package this cheese place is gonna put together, I'll make a little flyer for it.
I'm thinking of doing the same. I just got to the 50 subscriber mark on YouTube. I just crossed that this week. So I'm thinking of my next milestone is 100. So once I get to the 100, I'm going to do a giveaway because I just designed this shirt here.
Ooh, I like.
So I got that one, and then I got like another Mafia members T-shirt so I'll do a giveaway of something like that once I get to the 100 subscriber mark.
Yeah, I think I did a giveaway for 100. Did a T-shirt or a sweatshirt, and I did one for 150. It was a T-shirt. So yeah, I'm trying to, I shout out to these guys, and the cheese shop is literally like a minute drive from my house. I don't know if that's good or bad. But.
I thought about you. The other day. I stopped at the gas station and picked up a bag of cheese curds, and I ate the whole bag on the ride home. Like they didn't even make it back to my house.
Cheese curds? What cheese curds?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, because I took a bite and I was like, these are definitely better than the Wisconsin cheese curds. They can't be worse. That's for sure.
Yeah. What from the gas station?
Yeah, that's where like our local cheese curd manufacturer. They're all sold in the convenience stores, gas stations. It's St. Albert's cheese curds. That's what we make our poutine out of. If it's not St. Albert's cheese curds, we don't eat it.
Well, if you win this package, you might not have a choice. So I'm not going to ship cheese curds to somebody that ain't going to eat it.
Listen, all cheese curds are good. All cheese curds at baseline, they're good. It's just which one is a little bit better.
And what you do, you got to put them in your omelet. That's yeah. But again, Ben, thank you. I'll link up with you in the inbox, and I'll get you back on later on this fall, and I'll have maybe halfway through the season to see how you guys are doing, how the Packers are doing, and we can go from there.
Awesome, man. Sounds good. Always a pleasure. Love being on your show. It's great.
Again, well, thank you, and I appreciate it. And go Pack, go.
Go Bills.
Go Bills. Yep. Hey, Bills are our second favorite team. All right. Thanks, Mike.
All right, we'll see you. Thank you, man.
Have a good night.
Yeah, you too.